Hi, it's Polly here. Yay! Drinking limoncello from Capri. Whee! Yeah, look, I found a thing. Yay! Sojourn. A small game, you would think. A small game, incredibly complete. This thing is amazing. This would really be my choice for a dungeoneering game. Superficially, it's kind of an OSR, re-imaging D&D, you know, you've seen this 1,000 times. Not quite like this, you haven't. This thing is beautiful. So layout and so on is graphically very, very neat. It's really nicely laid out, icons in set places and so on. And the artwork that's got with it has a beautiful kind of Art Nouveau look to it, a sort of a spindly, dreamy, very invitational style to it. But this is a very, very concise, very, very imaginative look at doing fantasy role-playing. It's really, really good. They've broken the characteristics down to 4. What do we got? We've got force, finesse, wit and will. That's it. You're rolling 3 dice for these, but what you're interested in is what the bonus is that gives you. The 3d6 will give you a bonus of like negative 3, 2, 1, 0, plus 1, plus 2, plus 3, which goes onto dice rolls. Now, you take a general character class, the kind of a stream. You can be a warrior, you can be a zealot, you can be a rogue, or you can be a mage. Now, it's laid out really concisely in point form what these things do. This game uses a system of some things give you an advantage. So they've kind of taken that leaf from 5th ed. So you roll twice and keep the best result if you have advantage in things. Some things you're disadvantaged at. You roll twice and you take the worst of the 2 rolls. So what they've done is, in point form, this is the warrior. You are advantaged against these kind of magics. You are disadvantaged against these kind of. Here is your hit dice. Now the interesting thing is, you're rolling hit dice and you're rolling them old style. So it's 4, 6 and 8s. So a warrior has a d8 hit dice, which you are rolling, you know, for your hit dice, for how much you take. But these are also the amounts of damage done by your characters. So a warrior swinging a sword at you does a d8. A rogue swinging a sword at you does a d6. You're not so much restricted by the weapons, they just tend to do less damage. So a wizard can, you know, wave stuff around, he just doesn't do much with it. Warriors and so on are trained to, they can go up to like a 2-handed weapon, which does a d10, but it gives them, you know, some disadvantages on defense and so on. So, once you get out of your first level, once you get some experience and move on, you then choose a specialization within those streams. So the warrior can then decide to pick between things like, I'm going to become a ranger, I'm going to become a duelist, you know, I'm going to be, you know, these kind of specializations. A rogue can say, I'm going to specialize into becoming a bard, or I'm going to become a thief, and you've got these options. The mages can be a wizard, they can be a witch / warlock, or they can be a sorcerer. Each of these things do very different things. The zealots can go on to become kind of more classic-y sort of clerics, or they can be paladins or druids. Now, the magic is very fair. It's really, this is the thing I like. It keeps it under control, which Dungeons and Dragons does not. Dungeons and Dragons as a world doesn't work. There's too much magic flying around. It does world-changing things. It's readily accessible. These guys have, when you start off, you get the ability to cast a number of spells equal to like your intelligence bonus, that +1, +2, +3 that you got, plus your level. So effectively, a decent wizard is probably going to be able to cast about, you know, 2, 3, 4 spells a day. And that point form thing I was talking about, what your powers are. What you can do is, Once a day you can memorize that number of spells, and this is a ritual that takes you, an hour to do and will require some kind of physical components, which you can find or might cost you a tiny bit of money. Once you've done that, you may cast memorized spells, etc., etc., etc. So you will cast slightly more spells, one extra spell per level as you go up. There is a series of kind of basic spells that you can access, and as you go up you can learn these, and you can find these in grimoires, and these are easy. But these are pretty manageable, workable spells that don't kind of change gameplay much. These are the create light spells, a magic missile. These are detect magic-y kind of spells. Nothing that's going to turn the world upside down, but your character is in there and contributing to play and doing things. A lot of other stuff is in there. They've got a lovely list of spells, but they are there and the umpire can introduce them through the narrative of the game. These are legendary things. They're not just flying around, they're legendary. A legendary bad guy or a rotten monster might have them. This terrible NPC might have them. So you've got to access them and find them as part of the narrative. So the umpire can control the kind of magic you've got out there in the game. So this isn't something where anyone wandering down the street could have a sodding fireball, or where suddenly people just switch to a level where, I'm flying through the air now and I can summon meteor swarms. I don't really care about everybody else. It's all about me! Likewise, the clerics feel really good. If you want to go from that sort of zealoty thing, which can do some laying on of hands and yada yada squee, but if you want to go into the full kind of cleric-y thing, it feels a lot more cleric-y. To take that jump, you've got to give up something that's important to you. You sacrifice this, and now you get all of this cleric stuff. Some nice jumps there that I don't see, in the other games. And again, that wonderful, careful listing of what you can and can't do. So there's no grey areas, there's no kind of Gygaxian waffle and bullshit. It's actually really cleverly, crystal clear, simple, one page, everyone's got it. Likewise, the magic things, it's a really thin book. It's got every spell you could ever want. It's just described neatly and concisely. Love it. Absolutely love it. You've got all the equipment that you could want and so on, all the weapons, all this sort of thing. Combat, I like. So what you're doing is you are rolling, and you are rolling your combat. It's your level, and you get some bonuses for being a warrior, etc. Your target makes a roll as well. They make a defense roll, and your armor and so on adds into the defense roll. And so does your level. Thank you. Having been a fencer and a kendoist and Ju-kendo and everything all my life, the problem with guys who have high skill is it's virtually impossible to hit us. We're really good at not being killed. So this is nice to see level is actually affecting your defense. And it's active. You're not just kind of sitting there and taking it. You're rolling versus the other person to try and defend yourself. There are consequences. If you roll critical hits when you're defending yourself, you get kind of a free riposte. If you roll critical hits when you're attacking someone, there are little critical hit effects that you can get. The warrior ones are obviously better. So, crystal clear, lovely, lovely stuff. They've got a beautiful little list of monsters. Now, the monsters do have the usual things that you would expect. But again, it's not the crazy spread of monsters that you get in D&D. They've done a really good job of doing... Yes, they put in some, they put in goblins and things like this. But with these lovely Art Nouveau illustrations, they've put in a list of things that are honestly mysterious and quite interesting. It makes kind of a creepier game. It feels more mystic to me. It feels more like a settled, functioning world. Very Jack Vancian, for those who are a Jack Vance fan. This makes sense. It's creepy, it's interesting, keep away from those ruins. Yeah, it does definitely have a Jack Vance kind of feel to it. Now, the other thing is, big problem with D&D, original D&D, in particular is the money. They decided that experience was money, so therefore you'll start off the game, you've got very little money and resources, so you have to use that so wisely for your kitting. I'm going to take chainmail for my fighter because I can't afford anything else, because I want the shield and the sword, but I need the backpack, and I need the large sack, and I need the 6 torches and the flask of oil, and I need the rations, etc., etc. And then that will never be a problem again, because you'll wander off and you'll find like thousands and thousands of gold pieces. Oh, I find a 20,000 gold piece ruby. Like, oh, God's sakes. There's no resource management. You kind of just leapt onwards. It's not a problem anymore. With this, you can kind of tailor your experience, and it gives you different ways of doing it. And you can do that system if you want, where you get experience for every gold piece you get, or every gold piece that's spent on something that helps out the world or fights the evil empire or something like that. Or we're tooling the experience so it's based on helping people, solving problems, fighting the bad guy, overthrowing the evil empire, progressing. It allows you to kind of control how your world feels, and I think that's a really good idea. If you remove the fact that the experience is entirely tied to these masses of money, I need $80,000 to, I need 80,000 gold pieces in pocket to get up to my next experience level. It's like, God help us. Whereas this, none of that. We're controlling it, so you can keep people with a little bit of money, enough to do things with, but they're worried about the resources, and better game results. This is beautifully done, a beautiful game. Within this slim volume, there's also a really good starting adventure, Manacambia. So you've got a scenario where you've been brought in. You've got to save someone from the dungeons of this evil imperial overlord, and there's a little political thing that goes with it. There's characters that you can persuade, and NPCs that might actually help you, but at a price, because they're they're shifty. You've got an above and below ground kind of mansion and dungeon setting. So that is a lot to pack in to this little volume. It's everything you need to run adventures. You might look at it and think that they've stripped it down. They haven't. They've kind of really essentialized it. They've kept their focus on what makes a good game and removed the flash. And in what makes a good game, they've given you lots of options. They've made it clear and crisp, and it runs beautifully. None of it negates each other. None of it's got grey areas. So this is a great game for a beginning umpire to run. This is a great game to run for anyone, really. This is really good work. So it might have slipped completely under your radar. Sojourn. This is really good work. Now, it says here that they are bringing out more material for it and adventures. I really sincerely hope they do, because this is good stuff. This is a good game. I think it would probably be my choice of kind of dungeoneering experience at the moment. It's absolutely fantastic effort. The fact that they packed so much into so little page count, they've really used their space well. Great work. Anyway, Sojourn, go out and find it. I really think it deserves attention. Excellent, excellent work. Anyway, cheers everybody. If you like the videos, like and subscribe. Cheers.